Well, here we are at London Book Fair 2012. I'm Rupert Matthews, the editorial director of Bretwalda Books. Come along to do business, but I've happened to bump into Peter Mullen, who is the author of our book, A Politically Incorrect Lexicon, and I'm taking the opportunity just to have a little chat with him about it. Peter, lovely to see you. Perhaps you could start by just telling us something about what the book's about.
Well, it's about being able to say things that we're not really allowed to say. We've got complete freedom of speech in this country, but the only problem with that is we're not allowed to say anything. And one has to address that. One can no longer say about 1 million words that we were all brought up to use perfectly normally. Mm-hmm. We now have to use some other word for it, which is less descriptive and therefore has less impact.
Yeah, I noticed there were quite a few references to art and music in the book. Is that something that's a particular interest of yours?
Art and music, yeah, I live for it. Art, music, beer and women, yeah, of course. It's a staple diet of every Anglican priest.
And of course, and you are an Anglican priest, are you not?
Indeed, I am, yes.
Yeah, where's your parish?
Well, I've just retired from St Michael's Cornhill in the City of London. Okay. And I'm taking another part-time job in retirement in Harrow. So I'll still be around in the city.
And of course, as you say, you are an Anglican priest, and I must admit I was a bit surprised, because some of this book's a bit rude, isn't it?
It's very rude. I hope it's absolutely scurrilous, and that it incurs the interest of the Archbishop of Canterbury, because he's followed my work closely over the years and often expressed his amusement. So I'm really hoping for great things from you.
Well, absolutely, but why should anyone want to buy a book as scurrilous as this?
Because it's not merely scurrilous. It has a serious point. Because I'm really saying that we are under some kind of appalling censorship. We are really not allowed to say things anymore that we used to say, round the lunch table, in the street, in the pub. We're just not allowed to say these things. And I'm pointing this out, I hope in a humorous way, because it's the best way to communicate with people is to make them laugh. But underneath it is a really serious point, because I think we're living in a kind of totalitarianism light. And the trouble with totalitarianism light is that it tends to get totalitarian heavy.
Well, that's a good point, but surely political correctness is just a form of good manners, isn't it?
No, unfortunately, Rupert, I'd like to think it was that. But the point is quite the opposite. If we still had good manners, there wouldn't be any need for this, political correctness. We wouldn't need all these gauleiters and commissars telling us what we can say and what we can't say. Because we would just, as we normally do, I hope, we would observe the ordinary courtesies and not upset people. But I think what makes us rude and offensive is when people tell us that we can't use the ordinary English language in the way that we've been accustomed to use it for centuries. I got the idea from Dr. Johnson, with his dictionary. I thought, I want to write a dictionary of modern manners, of modern speech, of what we're allowed to say and what we're not. And so it is, it's in the form of a sort of small dictionary. Because it'll make them laugh. They'll open it and they won't be able to shut it. They will say, I'll just read this page, while I'm sitting here on the loo. And before they know where they are, they'll find they've read the whole lot, because you can't put it down.
Fantastic. Okay, thank you very much, Peter. Okay, well, thanks very much for talking to us, Peter. Absolutely fantastic. Hope the day goes well for you. So that's us here at the London Book Fair. I'm hoping we'll be talking to some of the other authors as we go round, so I'll keep an eye out for them. Thanks very much.